so happy to be with you today.
A little crowded up there, doesn't it?
Here.
That it gets a little crowded up there.
Uh-huh. No. No, no, no. Pause. Doesn't look like it always looks. You know, when you miss church for about a month, things change. The word for today is awareness. I am aware of God's presence in everything I do and everyone I meet. I will say this affirmation again and then ask that you repeat it with me. I am aware of God's presence in everything I do and everyone I meet. Together. I am aware of God's presence in everything I do and everyone I meet. Thank you. The first step in realizing our spiritual purpose is to become aware of the one presence and one power, God the omnipotent, that defines the essence of everything. We see divine presence in great spiritual teachers, beautiful sunsets, or in the eyes of children. Before we were awakened to spirit, there were experiences that spoke to us of a power far greater than the limits of this mortal realm. Our spiritual path is always moving us forward. Awake and aware, we find our lives filled with opportunities to accomplish our spiritual purpose. Choice by choice, we bring into awareness a dimension of consciousness that Jesus describes as the kingdom of heaven. From Ephesians 4:23-24, we read, "Be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to clothe yourself with the new self, created according to the likeness of God." We'll now prepare for meditation with music from the Unity Singers.
From Young and Rusty. We're the Unity Singers today.
invite you to relax and allow yourself to be held by your bench. There has been so many things that we've been involved with week. And now we have the opportunity to come, to relax, to go into the center where there is oneness, where there is joy. I invite you to find that place where you remember your truth. Thomas Merton says that we are spiritually whole, and that as we go through life, it is ours to deepen ourselves, into the one with the risen, deathless Christ, whom all are fulfilled. This life is a journey to God, through God, expressing God. It is ours to turn from the outer, going within. It is ours to find our way past the outer distractions, to the whole, to the complete, to the true self. It is here that we settle prayerfully. It is here that we relax in that secret place of the Most High. Receive insight where we have unlimited vision. We have understanding. And it is in this understanding that we know the truth. And we go deeper into that silence. From our heart center, let us allow ourselves to spill to overflowing with gratitude, to fill to overflowing with love. filled to overflowing with light, radiant light. And in this remembrance of the truth of who we are, as we return to this time and space, let us look, let us see with new eyes, with new understanding, with an innocence of love. So it is. Amen. Again, good morning, you beautiful people, you radiant beings. So the first song that Sue and Rusty did about having God see us, how God sees us, how others see us from the outside. What a beautiful idea, what a beautiful thought, that we have these ideas of what we look like inside. And then we look into the eyes of someone and we see incredible beauty, and yet they may not even feel that beauty, that light, that spirit. But you see it. I see it in you right now. And if you don't feel it right now, I invite you just to recognize that there are people around you that know it and see it and are holding it for you. It's here. It's here in this time and space. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. We are on the power this morning, the power of understanding. And Michael Merton, one of my colleagues, writes this about the 12 powers, because if you're familiar at all with the 12 powers written by Charles Fillmore, you know that it can be a little difficult to understand. And Michael says to understand the 12 powers, you have to know that there are 12 expressions of one power, the Christ, that Christ that's within each of us. And we all know that have been here for the last few months, the 12 powers, right? The acronym of lips flow, WUZE. And so that would be love, imagination, power, strength, faith, life, order, will, wisdom, understanding, elimination, and zeal. Those are the powers that make up the one power. And so he goes on to say that what is meant by the Christ is the fully awakening human being. It is the state of consciousness within us that is completely one with God. Jesus, the man of Galilee, born in Bethlehem, realized his true spiritual nature, and he became the Christ, showing us the way to know that for ourselves and to fully realize it. So we have that opportunity. And there are times that we move closer, times that we feel further away. But we have the possibility always available to us. When we speak in unity of the Christ, we do not generally mean that Jesus exclusively had it in mind and that he was the only one. Instead, we realize that he showed us the divine potential that we have on earth. So he put forth, he demonstrated the ability to take this walk and to realize it. Fillmore saw the 12 disciples of Jesus symbolically representing the strength of which he was talking about. So all of these things are pieces for us to hold together to recognize our oneness. It's the pieces that we have. And maybe we can identify with, oh yes, I have understanding. I've got that one. Okay, that's a part of the wholeness. Maybe we don't feel like we have understanding. We feel pretty judgmental and we don't understand why people are the way they are. And someone said, Rusty said this in the first service, that if we truly understand where somebody is, even if at first we don't agree, after we begin to understand them, we can't help but agree. Because now we understand where they're coming from. And what I said to that was, even those people who have done things that have been very harmful, if we could understand their past, we could understand how they come to be that way. Not that we condone that or agree with it, but we can begin to understand. So there is an understanding that Jesus had, that Jesus proved to us that he could understand great and many things. And so can we. So there's the understanding of other people. There's the understanding of ourselves. And then there's understanding that we call intuition. So we're going through life and we feel very sure about something. And that's an understanding, an intuition, a feeling that comes to us as a gift from God and of God. And I know each and every one of you have experienced that too. You've had that intuition, you've had that feeling, you've known that it was right, wrong, whatever. I know that I have met people before that I've gone, oh, I've known you all my life, and those that I've walked away from going, I really don't want to get close to that person. Not sure why, only to later learn something. So we have this gift, and that's what these 12 powers are. They are gifts. They are pieces of the whole that allow us to more fully express our divinity. And Charles Fillmore really wanted us to get our divinity and understand it and to live it and to be it. And sometimes we find that hard to do, or we find ourselves saying, can't I get away from this one piece of it? I don't want to give up my whatever. And yet, we are all drawn to wanting more of that. There is no doubt in my mind, because we are here, we want more. If you're interested, if you're thinking about it, if you're reading about it, if you're listening to songs about it, there is that place in you that wants to understand. And so one of the pieces of understanding is learning in our head. We have knowledge. So we have this understanding of the knowledge of. Well, that's nice. Knowledge is good. But can we put it into practice? So we have from Jeremiah 33, call to me and I will answer and tell you great and unsearchable things that you do not know. You see, we don't have to know it all, but we're going to intuit some of it. We're going to have this ability to know in our hearts. And then we're going to go out and we're going to learn things, and that's called knowledge, and that's a good thing. But with that knowledge, if we don't take it the next step, we've missed the understanding of it. So we learn something in our heads, and then we put it to practice. And we practice, and one day we suddenly go, oh, I get it. I got that. And that is when we have understanding. When we have understanding that people are all good. That we don't look at people and judge and say, how dare they? Because from where they are, they're doing the best they can do with the history that they've had. Not always easy to hear. And we'd like to all hold that idea of someone being wrong and bad up into the ethers, up into a higher consciousness. For that is what it's called for. When we see things we don't like, it is a call to prayer. When we hear news that we don't like, it is a call to prayer. When we don't understand, it is a call to prayer. Does that make sense to you, that it's a call to prayer when we are struggling? It is a call for us to find that place within us where the answer is, to have an understanding of the situation. There are things that have happened in my life that when they happened, I thought, why in the world? But I have understanding of them today. They're some of the best things that have ever happened in the world. But maybe at the time I didn't understand. So understanding that intuitive self, that the intellectual knowing that comes into a fuller knowing, and so you learn, you have this knowledge, you put it into practice, and then you be it. Then you be it. And that's where we're going, is to understand in an intellectual level, to practice it and make it a part of us. So we have a real good story that I know that most of you know, and it is about understanding. And it is about Joseph and the coat of many colors. So we have this young man he's the youngest of many in his family. I think there were 17 in his family. And he was the youngest, and his dad really liked him. You know how it is when you're the baby of the family, everybody's going to like you, right? And his dad made this coat for him of many colors, and his brothers were jealous of this young man. Now, how many of us see somebody who has something on the outside and we become jealous? So Joseph was just a sweet young man who was doing what his dad wanted, and his brothers continued to hate him and act hatefully. They could hardly speak to him without sounding hateful. So when the brothers went off to do something, Joseph wanted to go with, and Dad said, go ahead, go catch up with them. You can see this in a story today, can't you? Okay, go catch up with the boys on the bikes further away. And when he got there, they decided that they would kill him. Then one of the older brothers had some wisdom and went, no, let's don't shed blood. Let's just put him in a pit and tell Dad that he was a beast got him. So the beast got him, and the boys went back and said, gosh, this beast got your youngest son, and it's just really bad, and we feel awful, and he's gone. So Dad was just heartbroken, and he went out looking, and he found the coat of many colors ripped to shreds as the brothers had done. In the meantime, Joseph had been taken captive into Egypt, and there he was imprisoned, and he began to have more dreams. He had already been having dreams that told people what to do, and that was one of the things the brothers didn't like. He continued to have these dreams, and he was able to tell the leaders in Egypt, you need to fill your storehouses because we are going to have a drought and a famine. You're going to have it, and we need to prepare for it. And so they did. And before long, he became a coach to the leader there and was out and helping and leading and taking care of the warehouses. And what happened in the neighboring country was they ran out of grain. And who came looking for some grain? From Joseph, who was now in charge of the warehouses. Here came the brothers, and they did not recognize their brother now that he was a man. And they said, please, please, take pity on us. And Joseph had an understanding of where they had been and why they so were jealous. He had an understanding that they were acting out of their jealousy, not their truth. And so understanding this, he was also able to forgive them. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty big area of forgiveness, don't you think? I mean, many of us have big things to forgive. But guess what? It's real possible. Forgiveness is, I'm going to say this, many people may not agree, but forgiveness is easy. It takes this long to forgive once we realize it. So the true mark of maturity is when somebody hurts you and you try to understand their situation instead of trying to hurt them back. That's what Joseph did. He understood their situation. Instead of trying to hurt them, he gave them food. He gave them food. He gave food for his father, and they were reunited. So there is this place that we need to just get over our silly selves and be in oneness and be in understanding that people are doing the best that they can do with what they have, and that we can hold the high watch and we can forgive. Forgiveness is just such a treat, such a wonderful experience. And if you have some doubt that you can forgive something, please talk to me, because I've been doing forgiveness workshops for years and years and years, and I don't know anything that someone cannot forgive. Because people can. Joseph did. His brothers meant it for bad, but God meant it for good. So with so many things in life, people think that it's about one thing, and it's totally an opportunity for us to step up, to call to God, not outside ourselves, but inside ourselves and all around ourselves as well as that. To call to God to be more than we are at this moment, to forgive what it is that we need to forgive, to understand what it is that we need to understand, and to intuit that is available to us. And the way we do that is we get quiet and we listen and we become willing. And we've already had our 12 powers on will. If you didn't hear it, go to YouTube and listen. Will. It's that place where we have the choice. And next week, not next week, 2 weeks, we're going to be talking on life. And we're going to look at how all these powers come together into the oneness and make us whole and strengthen us as complete human beings. So I just hope that you will be back. I don't hope. I bless you and you're coming back and hearing this coming together. And I just love each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Namaste.